Okay, so this is Shep. He is a 14-week-old yellow Labrador. He is in for basic obedience work and eventually some advanced obedience work as well. He already had some previous obedience prior to this, and his owner had been using the click and treat method. I decided that since this was going to be our first time training together, that we were going to regress back to that, just so that way he kind of knew what it was I was expecting from him in this brand new environment with this brand new person, right? Just trying to build confidence in me. So this is actually our third session of the day. As you can see, we've already progressed to the point of overlaying the cue with the action. So I'm not asking him to go to place. What I'm doing is waiting for him to show me the behavior that I'm wanting, and when I'm certain that he's going to give me that behavior, I'm then overlaying the cue. So in this instance with place, he starts moving towards the place board. I feel confident in the fact that he's going to get on that place board, so then I say the word place, and all we're doing is building up the association between the word and the action. Also, in case you're curious, that shrill sound in the background is my boxer. So for some reason, she felt like someone was going to murder her that day, when in reality, all that was going on was me and Shep were out training. So here you're going to notice I'm trying to get Shep to move to the place board. So what I do is I take a step towards it. He then initiates the movement. I overlay the cue, click, treat, reward. So you'll also notice here that I'm not clicking and treating right away. Instead, I'm waiting just a little bit more. I'm asking a little bit more of him. I'm asking him to not only get on the place board, but to sit and wait for X amount of time. Just trying to put in more contextual interference, just so we can build up that behavior a little bit more. And then, of course, that'll be something that we can then use to our benefit when we transition to extended sits on the place board.
Leave it.
Another thing to notice here too is the difference between my tones when I'm using a cue versus when I am reinforcing a behavior, if you will. So I give the cue as flat of a tone as I can, but then as soon as he does it correctly, and in this case he waits a little bit, I then go a little bit higher pitched, a little more excited of a tone, letting him know that, hey, that's exactly what I want.
Place. Good boy.
Another thing I should mention here is that we are on concrete. The reason being, concrete holds a lot less scent than what grass would, just because, I mean, one, there's less traffic on it, right, from different critters and whatnot, but then also because of the fact that concrete's typically dry, or at least drier than grass after a rain or something like that. And so because it holds less scent, you can get the dog's attention more. He's not constantly sniffing around the ground looking for something else to hold his attention. So at this point, we have now switched from going to place to just working on sit. When you're doing this in your first teaching, you want to break it up. You want each individual task to be separate. Of course, I say that, and then I go and put him on his place board. But this is very similar to block periodization that you'll find in different high-performance sport training programs. And in the early phases, you want to do that, and then eventually you want to go into a variable style of training where you're going every other rep is something completely different. But you're only moving into that once the dog is showing you competence in that one individual task.
Good boy. Good boy.
So here I'm just checking my watch, seeing what time it is. Typically with younger dogs, you want to keep it somewhere between 5 all the way up to maybe 15 minutes for a session. You don't want to take it too long because then you're going to lose their attention and you're just going to start getting really bad reps, and then you're going to keep trying to get a good rep and a good rep to end on, and it's just going to end up causing more problems than what it is going to help. So here you see him guessing, trying to figure out what it is that I want from him. He thought I wanted him to go to the place board. In reality, what I wanted him to do was just sit down in front of me. So I didn't say anything when he got on the place board. I just waited. He eventually then came to me and gave me the proper behavior that I was looking for.
Place.
This is a great example of what not to do. So I kind of got ahead of myself thinking that
Place.
he was already starting to really associate the cue with the action. And so I tried to cue him to go
Good
to the place board
boy.
instead of just overlaying the cue over the action. I ended up making up for my mistake though on this very last rep, just waiting for him to head to the place board before I overlaid the cue with the behavior that he was giving me.